see the number like 32. Like, bro, I don't get that many people in my chat, or get that many people. But when they see it, it's like, wow, he got a big channel. Like, bro, that is not a big channel, bro. But it's like I had two people, like one of my freaking neighbors, when I'm walking my son from school. I'm bypassing her, and she was like, when she said you the word, man, I'm looking like, oh shit. I'm like, yeah, but her cousin watched my video. Her cousin watched my video, and her cousin was playing one, and it was one when I was taking this mask on and off. I was playing with this mask, and she just looked at me. She said, "My cousin listened to you," and I'm looking like that shit fucking weird, bro. 'Cause like in my community, like 32K is not a lot of people, bro. It's really not.
Mm.
And just having one of those people out of your community, out of millions or billions of people in the world, that shit crazy. And then my dentist, like my whole dentist office, like they think I'm awesome. They like my dentist office listen to my video. I know at least four people in there. So every time I go in there, they like I'm a fucking celebrity. Nah, bro, it ain't like that. Because they don't
You are a
really know
celebrity,
about
though.
like YouTube or views. They don't look at that. They just know they can go see a video of me talking on an app, and they think that's like, I don't know, like shit weird, bro. But yeah, so I don't want the attention that it comes with. But
I don't
fear,
think
I mean,
nobody
I
like
think
the
it's fear,
attention.
bro. I mean, if the fear derives from, oh yeah, people love the attention, bro. People addicted to that shit, bro. They be doing crazy shit.
Ah, well, I ain't one of them. Maybe that's the problem.
Uh, but
I
that's why
really think that's the
I
problem.
think, and then it can be fear of the unknown. They don't know what to expect. If they do this, it can be like social fear. Will they be outcast? You know what I'm saying? It can be part of their ego. How will people perceive me? But it's definitely fear. Just that's fear is reason why. You know what I'm saying? That'd be more. Um, but that's on the individual base too. So that'd be it'd be hard to, but you can, link it to fear. Definitely fear.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's what it is too. And when you say fear, I think people don't really know how far fear has its hand on things like life or situation like that. We're gonna use your word cultivate, right? That's the topic, right? That's what you said. How many people want to cultivate, right? And part of cultivation is you have to have fertile ground. So when you farming or things like that, you break up the soil, you break up the ground and have try to find some fertile place for a seed to plant. Do you know that so many people don't know what the hell we talking about when you talking about fertile ground? That people really think we talking about farming, and we talking about a fertile mind, a fertile heart, a fertile spirit, etc. People don't have that gravity. They don't understand when I say things like that. It sounds foreign to a lot of people. So when you have that misinterpretation of the word cultivate, of course they is going to think about farming. But we're putting this into everyday life because part of cultivating is when you try to develop a friendship, a situation, an association, a partnership. These are everyday things. But because people don't know what, because they only know one aspect of a definition of a word, they tend to stick with it because they don't want to do the work to understand that there's more meanings and definitions to a word than the one that they already have. And I guess it's because, in my opinion, they don't want to be too smart because they don't want to be labeled like a nerd or whatever the case may be because you have a different understanding of words and meanings and definitions. So I think that has a lot to do with people not wanting to do the work as far as anything. Now, when I said great minds think alike. Because when you brought the topic up, I was like, dang, I was going to talk about incorrigible, but I'm gonna leave that right there because I'm gonna break that down probably tomorrow. But I just think that people, when they hear a word, see a word, they think the word mean one thing, and it has more than one meaning. But a lot of the time, people, like, if I say encourageable, people might be thinking about encouraging. Those are two different words. So because they only know one thing, they stick with it, even if it's a wrong concept or wrong aspect to the word. So that's why I'm saying people are afraid to adjust, change. Well, you was talking about change. I say improve, because I want people to elevate themselves, to grow. But that's why people don't change, because they too damn grown for themselves, and they don't never want to admit that they still have room to grow. In my opinion.
Yeah, not well, well, I mean, even the fear of not being like people get settled, right? And they get even people get comfortable with bullshit, bro. People get, you know what I'm saying? And that's just reality. People, I don't live in that ought to how things ought to be, but people get comfortable with bullshit. You have somebody um working a minimum wage job in their 40s or 50s, and because it's comfortable, not because they limit it to it. It's just they get comfortable with it. I mean, you have people who stay in bad relationships because what they and people make these justifications. It's better to deal with the devil you know than the devil you don't. Like, why are you even fucking dealing with devils in the first place? That's how I be thinking. Like, fuck, am I deal with the devil for? You know what I'm saying? That's a choice. We talk about decisions. I'm gonna decide not to fuck with devils instead of choose a devil to deal with. No, I'm good. I just ain't gonna fuck with none of the devils. So well, you have like I don't know, bro. It's like
No, but
just
see,
that way of
even with
thinking.
that, yeah, I was about to say, even with that, right? You already you rather be in the negative concept or the evil concept, because most people think the devil is evil, right? Well, a lot of people gonna say that. So you rather stay in the negative concept instead of trying to find the positive concept that can get you away from the situation. You rather sit in dog poop instead of going in the cat poop. Like, who wants to sit in poop? Who wants to sit in mess? Who wants to
Right?
sit in
Who's
chaos?
fucking with the poop
Like,
anyway?
why don't you find a place where there is no poop? Go to a cleaner place. Why don't you adjust yourself to the situation? But because they have been, they don't cultivate, their foundation is always in chaos and poop and nonsense and mess. They won't move from it. So, like I said, I think people just really don't have that understanding that it might be just time for you to make that adjustment. But because they like to settle for less, be less, as you would say, settle for mediocrity, they rather stay there instead of doing the work to fertilize a new foundation, or dig up a new foundation, or set a new foundation for the new thing that they're trying to develop. That's why people stay at certain jobs for 25, 30 years, and there's no lucrative deals. They're not even trying to get a promotion at the place. Nothing. They're not trying to do none of that. They rather just sit there and take their job, and I'm here and I'm going home. Like, no, it has to be an elevation somewhere. Even when you work, there has to be an elevation from a regular person to a supervisor, from a supervisor to a assistant manager, to the manager, to the CEO. Like, that's what are you shooting for? So you just living to live. You just have you might as well be on your way going back to the grave, because you walk on the green mile. There's no life in you. And because people don't have no life, they ain't looking to cultivate. They looking to devaluate themselves, and I don't think they can, because they already at their lower form or lower self. So I don't know how you can get lower than the bottom unless you're going under the ground. So, I just think that a lot of people is afraid of this, and because of that, this is when you know that a lot of people's peace is chaos, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I gotta stay off social media. 'Cause the more I listen to it, the more I watch the news and listen to it, I don't got hope for people no more, bro. Like I think society as a whole is trash, bro. That shit fucking trash. It's like people online arguing about bullshit, calling it debate, like feminists. Like I don't, bro. Like none of that shit is like I would consider because she go to like little rallies and shit. Like my sister in law, like she a feminist. You know who she don't talk to
Hmm.
about that shit? Me. I remember one day she was like, "Female deserve rights." I'm like, "Fucking rights you deserve." I don't think female. Me personally, I don't think. I think it's stupid for females going out there asking for rights or what? Like, what rights are you asking for? Like, can anybody like what fucking rights don't you have? I don't understand that. It's not.
I don't understand that concept either.
You know, we want equal pay. Well, like I worked the job. I worked as an anesthesia tech, and guess what? All the women was getting paid more than me, and I was doing fucking more. I was doing more than them. It was shit they couldn't lift the garbage. I'm like, it's fucking garbage. Fuck is y'all like? Can you take out the garbage? What the fuck? Don't y'all get paid more than me? Fuck am I taking out the garbage for all the time? It's a heavy box. Can you lift that? Like, hold on, bro. We doing the same fucking. So I got to do what I got to do and what you can't do. How's that fair? So I got the actual reverse of what people be complaining about. Right? Like women get rights. I don't think women don't have rights. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what rights that like I don't know. I never nobody ever answered that question. What right? Like when they say we're fighting for rights for women, it's like even when they say like the whole abortion thing, right? I'd be sitting there looking at it
Hmm.
like, man, fuck out of here, bro. Only reason that shit on the table is because motherfucker, and then half of the people who arguing that shit, like, like you got a right for abortion. You ain't even gonna be in a position to get a fucking abortion. If you put in that position, then I mean, if you using that shit as birth control, then no, I don't think you should have the right to get an abortion. I think that shit's stupid. If you want to use
Yeah.
abortion as a form of birth control, I don't feel you need to. You should have the right to abort. You know, because nah, this is why people aren't responsible. There's no fucking consequences or repercussions to their action. But there are cases like if a female be raped, of course, you know what I'm saying. You should go get it. Or if like if a person ain't mentally stable, of course you should. I don't think me personally. Now, see, I'm gonna be taking rights away because I don't think everybody should have kids in the first place. I think you need to take a standardized test or something. You should have to go through something before you have kids because people talking, and then you hear we need more kids. No, we don't. We do not need more people on this fucking planet. Not at the rate we going. You ain't creating nothing but more sheep, more slow ass people, bro. That's all we
Mm.
doing. So I'd
Like
be taking
even
rights away. The
yeah,
right to give
I'm gonna
birth.
take that.
Then you say that
I'm a
shit, and then there's a whole discussion about that. Like, oh, you can't. First, they tell me you can't force us to have kids, and then when I say that, you can't tell us we can't have kids. Like, okay, then where the fuck we at?
I think I made this statement before, right? If you want to control the kids or the population of kids, just put one simple rule, rule, law, whatever, how it's supposed to be according to that little book that everybody, the book that the number one bestseller book in the world. You're supposed to be married. So if you ain't supposed to have kids without being married. So get married. Have the law to say, yo, you must be married before you have children. That'll control the whole population by itself because ain't nobody trying to be married. People ain't suitable to be married. People don't understand what it is to be married. So just put that rule in effect and let's see what happens. You know what I mean? But then what you gonna say? You took my right away? What right? What right are you looking for? Like you just said. What are you looking
What's
for?
my
The
right away to
right
be a
of the
baby mama? I just wanted to be a baby
uh
mama. It's the craziest shit, bro.
okay.
I'm
Okay,
talking
well the
shit,
government have
man.
the right not to no, but here's the funny part. The government have the right to not support you because you want to be a baby mama. I'm just saying, or baby daddy. Now, how do you go about that? You I promise you, you put that in the law. It'll be a lot more people abstinence. It won't be 62,000 kids. And then, everybody, I don't think people really understand this. Like, I know, all right, let me use this example, and I don't want to make it sound crazier than it is. Do we understand that a lot of situations that kids were being born because they had nothing else to do? They was sad, they was depressed, they was quote unquote, I don't want to say cuddling, but that's what it seemed like, right? The baby boomer, baby boomers was like right around the World War II. That's when they had a lot of babies. That's what baby boomer. That's the era of baby boomers, right? We know it. We know in slavery time they was trying to populate the people with uh African Americans or whatever you want to call ourselves, because now
breeding.
we're profitable. Yeah, they're breeding, but a lot of the time they were just having kids because that's the only time they had to themselves. They like okay, cool, and they wasn't minding it because it's their property. So y'all go ahead and do what y'all do. You can go ahead and say that's your wife. You can go ahead and have 8, 9, 10, 12, 16 kids, but that's my property. Understand that. That's the same thing today, because when you have a kid and you put it on a birth certificate, you gave your kid to the you gave your kid to the state. So people don't even understand what's going on now. It's no difference. But I don't want to talk about that because people might try to cancel us if we had that type of conversation. I'm just saying we have to do the work. You got to cultivate your mind. Understand what's going to
Mhm.
cultivate your observation skills. Look and see what's going on around you. If you understand what's going on, you need to slow down, right? But I get it. Everybody don't want to learn. Everybody don't want to do these things. People are incorrigible, and I get it. So that's the frustration that people like you and I have to deal with, because people know it all. And like I tell you all the time, because they grown, they don't have room to grow. So it's like talking to the daggone wall. So, we just, like I said, patience is a virtue when you have these type of conversations. And so, you got to have that patience in order to have it. Like I said.
Even patience, man. You got to cultivate that. Like, bro, I had to cultivate a lot of that shit today, bro. These kids bad as hell, bro. My kids bad as hell. Man. I'm happy I waited till I was older, bro. I remember one day I got so frustrated with my son. This is before I even had my daughter. I looked at my brother. I was like, I see why your ass was going to jail right when the baby pop out. You wouldn't come home until they like 3, 4 years old. Shit, I see why now. He was
Yeah,
like,
had
"Fuck
to do the
you." I'm
work.
like, "Hey man, it's just saying it was just a pattern I seen, bro. I just seen a pattern, bro. I mean, I understand why now. I don't know if you was doing that shit subconsciously, but you was on to something, bro. Like these little motherfuckers, boy." And they black
he,
and Middle Eastern, two of the wildest fucking races on the planet. Like energetic races. Like, man.
he made that his state of mind.
Mhm.
You what? Oh man, hold on, man. Let me get my three options. God, let
Yeah.
me do two. Let
Oh,
me
you
do a two to
pregnant?
four.
I see you in 3 to 4. I see you in three to
I'll
4.
do a two to four. What you mean, babe?
Oh nah,
that
shit.
is
I got
that
fucked up
is
last night. My bad. My bad.
that's
Don't even tell Cody
diabolical.
shit, 'cause he gonna listen to this like fuck you, bro.
That's diabolical. That is
Who's
a
talking about
creative
business?
mind if he do that. Woo! I'm just saying. But yeah, a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people just they I don't like, I really don't understand it. This is, it's hard. Like, people don't understand it's hard. It's one thing to get the courage to come up here and have a conversation like this, right? It's another thing to bring up a topic like this. But if your audience don't receive it, then that could shut you down. You know what I mean? That could be so discouraging. Like, ain't nobody listening to me. I got like zero. My thing say is zero. It's different it's different if you're doing something like sports, right? You could just go ahead and just rehash all the stats and all that other stuff. Ain't nobody there. All right, well, I don't need you to be there because I'm just giving out replays of stats of what happened in this game, that game, or whatever the case may be. So it's different. But when you do this, man, this could be very discouraging. So you have to, like you said, you have to cultivate a thing of patience, a thing of humility. Because if you don't have that, man, you just coming up here, you're gonna be acting a fool, and that's what these other people want. I can't do it, so I had to, even these this week off or whatever the case may be, these past couple of days, I needed to sit there and gather myself because I'm like, yo, this it can be discouraging. But if you don't have the patience to do so, you'll be a fish out of water sometimes.
You know what, man? Always, I, like y'all always give credit to Stoic for saying consistency is the key, but he got that from me, and that's something I
All
live
right.
by. But sometimes you gotta. I mean, I don't mind, bro. I share a lot of things. But, he sounds better saying it than
Yeah.
I do. Better, you know. I made it a hot line. He made it a hot song, literally. Like, but yeah, I've lived that though. Like, and a lot of times you got to push yourself, bro. It's about. It's not about doing things when you want to do it. It's about can you do it when you don't want to do it. That's just life, you know.
Right.
So, you always have thoughts in my head like, man, this is bullshit. Because I know I accepted a long time. I accepted when I started this channel that man, this shit ain't gonna be popular, bro. I'm not gonna get this or get that. But I'm sticking to my values. I'm sticking to my morals. Um, and I'm gonna do what I do the way I'm gonna do it. If it catch on, then it catch on. If it don't, then it don't. But I always been like ahead of my time. I always felt like that. Like always been in the future versus the past. So, shit I'm saying now, people gonna need it probably like 10 years from now. So I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
This conversation,
Yeah.
I ain't even gonna do 50 views, but it's all right. And 3 years from now, it'll probably be at 1,000 views. But
Yeah.
that's how shit work, man. That's how shit work.
Yeah. But that's.
A lot of people, Walt
But,
Disney was ahead of his
mhm.
time. Shit, Kanye is ahead of his time. Mike is ahead of his time. All these people ahead of their time, bro. I ain't saying I'm a genius, but I am saying I'm a genius at the same time. Make that make sense. See,
Nah, it
people
makes
can't fuck
perfect
with
sense.
that, bro.
It makes perfect sense because at the end of the day, you being who you are, you being the nine, you being your truthful self, and like I always say, just because people don't embrace you for who you are, they may disassociate yourself from themselves from you because of the message, and and the messenger instead of the message. You know, it's those nitpickers that get in the way of understanding. It's the nitpickers that get in the way of growth. It's the nitpickers that get in the way of elevation for other people. Why? Because misery loves company. And in order to cultivate yourself, you must understand that those miserable people, those are the weeds that's choking the air and life out of people that's trying to elevate, grow, and things of that nature. So, you just got to continue to, cut the weeds like you would your lawn. You don't want that grass to overgrow. So you probably cut it every 7 to 10 days. Some people might go 2 weeks. I don't think people should go further than 2 weeks, but you want to make sure that you once you see that little grass that's growing, it ain't looking like it was when you first cut it. You don't see your lines no more. It's time to cut it down, and that's what a lot of people is doing now. They trying to get this line and weeds cut it out the way, but sometimes you can't catch them all, and then when you don't catch them all, it just looks horrible in your front lawn. So you try to do your best to clean up your front lawn, and that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, man. I know. I think I make people uncomfortable. This is just my opinion. I could be totally wrong about this, but I know I make people uncomfortable because I'm hard to read, but I'm not meant to be read. I'm meant to be comprehended or translated. Oh my God, bro. Give me 1 second, right out.
Go ahead. And the sad part about it is, just because people don't know how to. The question is, why don't people want to understand? right? Comprehension is a little bit higher than understanding. The question should be for everybody: why don't people want to understand what's being done, what the goal is, what the situation is, what's going on around them, right? Is it because people really don't want to? They don't care. I think that the people care. I just think that they don't want to make the adjustments. One, because they don't know how, and the other reason is, like I said earlier, because people just don't want to do the work to change around what they need to change around, or adjust to the things that they need to adjust to, right? Because we all know that there's somebody in their life, in their friendships, in your circle, however you want to put it, that we know somebody that has just settled and settled for something that they know good and well they don't deserve to be in, right? If it's an abusive relationship, if it's a one-sided friendship, if it's a one-sided family ship, right? Because you might do something for a cousin or uncle or aunt, and it's always one-sided. They call, you go running, or so on and so forth. But we do that. I think a lot of the time we do that because we're trying to keep up who we are, but at the same time we're choking ourselves because we're not growing ourselves, because we keep trying to keep our word of who we are. And a lot of the times we should take blame for that, because like I said, we're trying to be who we are. As he said, consistency is key. So we're not trying to break our consistency of who we are, right? I'll give you an example. If I know, if one important family member in my family calls, there's no questions to be asked. I'm going to see the individual. What do you need? How can I help? What's going on? You need this done? I'm on my way. It could be, you know, in the middle of the day. All right, I'll be up there on the weekend. I'm working, right? It's just because it's me being the person that I am, and they know who you are. They know that you're gonna come when they call, right? We all may have a person like that in our life, and that's because we are trying to be consistent with who we are, and
Oh
we,
no,
it's not it's not to be it's not to be a people pleaser. It's just to be who we are, and that could hinder us as well.
and that's a form of cultivation too. You know what I'm saying? Just being yourself, bro. People don't even practice that. Most people fall into like
Hmm.
societal norms, and they go with the crowd and shit. It's hard to be an individual, within a group. You know, it's hard to do that, and you have to cultivate yourself. Sticking to your beliefs, creating boundaries, creating a structure. It's hard to do that. People just go with the path of less resistance most of the time.
Well, I'll say this then. If that's the case, this is one of the easiest situations that I could have ever been in my life, right? I know I can do things on my own, but I think that, the fact that you and we work so much together, and like I said, when I have this next live, we did not speak about this. I promise y'all that. But what I'm saying is, great minds think alike. We looking at a goal. We're not looking at our individualism. We're looking at a goal. We still are individuals. We're not sacrificing our individualism. We're not losing it. We're investing in the common goal. This is what I was talking about when I say submit. You go underneath to look at a better picture. And when you submit to the goal, you elevate the goal by working together with like-minded people, and then you go ahead and sustain the goal. But people don't, like I said, people don't like to break down words. People don't like to do things like that. Suffix and prefix, they don't want to do all that. All right, all they see is, all right, I'm inferior, so I don't want to submit because you're gonna make me feel inferior. You're not inferior if you're working on a common goal. And this is what people don't understand. You don't lose your individualism if you're working on a goal. A better you is a better us is an individual becoming better and therefore pushing another person to become better. And elevation is what the goal was in the first place. Now, instead of you just
Hmm.
elevating, we're elevating. But because people don't have that simple concept of cultivating, they don't know what we're talking about.
We ain't trying to make this man look. I was just when you said a goal, like first thing I thought about is what's my role. Like we set a goal, okay, goal is set, this is what we want to do. Now what part do I play? Most people can't even do that. They can't even set the role. You know, like I said, most people want the role and not the responsibilities that come with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
No, they
know.
want the title. No, they want the title and not the role. You know what I mean? For example, a
Yeah.
dude want to be a father, right? You just want the title, but you don't want to be the dad. You understand what I'm saying? Or however that goes. You
Hmm.
want the title of being a dad, but or father, because that's what the legal term is. But you don't do the work of a dad. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? People want titles and not roles. You want to be a wife, but don't want to do the wifely duties. You want to be the husband, but don't want to do the husbandly duties. You want to be a boss, though, but don't want to do the work of a boss. You think that a boss just sits there and tap their foot on the floor while everybody else do the
So
work.
everybody
If
else
you an
will.
innovator,
Uh,
yeah, if you're an innovator, you got to innovate what you want done. You got to put that thing to work. But because you don't know what the role's entitled, you don't know what the role is. You oh that I just want to be a CEO. You know what a CEO consists of? You ain't gonna be home because
so,
a lot of the times you gotta shake and bake. You gotta meet people. You gotta make business deals. You gotta fly over here to make something happen over there. And you don't know what that role consists of, but it sounds good, so I want it. This is what people don't understand. It sounds good because you ain't in the role. But once you win that role, you're gonna see the work and you may not be ready for it.
yeah, bro. Like, yeah, as you saying that, I'm washing clothes, bro. Moving the right now. About to take a load up. I don't like my wife walking up the stairs with the clothes basket. There's our laundry room in the basement. And I set that president when she was present. I mean, pregnant. So it's just natural for me to do the laundry now. I'm a little better at it. Trying to separate myself like I'm more attention to detail and stuff. So
But see, your situation is a marriage situation. You and your wife, y'all have the conversations. You come to an agreement because y'all see there's a bigger goal for what y'all want done, right? So now you like, you know what, babe? I know you just did A, B, and C. Let me do the laundry, and you just get off your feet. You just came home from work. Don't worry about it. I got the laundry, and by the time you get up in the morning, you got something fresh to wear, so on and so forth, right? I can hear dudes in the bed. That's some beta move. No, it's a common goal move. The common goal is I want to make sure that my wife is comfortable and ready to go when she needs to go out there and do what she
who's
needs
the
or
tell?
wants to do as far as making her money, and that's just what it is. But people always gonna have something to say when they don't have the position to say it, and that's a lot of the problems that we have too.
I was washing my own clothes before I got married, bro. Shit, normal. Like people, I don't know, but my grandmother, she raised me and told me, "I'm gonna teach you everything you need to know. One thing you'll need a woman for, sex.
Have
One
a
thing you'll
baby.
need a woman for, sex. Not a She ain't even say no
Have a
baby.
baby.
She said sex. She told me that at 5 years old. I'm like, what is sex? What is sex?
And that's what I'm saying. People don't understand. Okay, it just sounds different. It sounds weird. Rudy, what's going on, Rudy? It just
What up,
sounds
man?
different because you know what I mean. It's not the tradition. It's not traditional. It's not the norm. Do people understand that you could change the norm? You could change the natural situations in your life. You don't have to be chaotic. You don't have to follow the ways of the world, but people don't know that because their minds ain't cultivated enough to understand you can make whatever you want into a natural situation for you. But they don't understand that. They just hear something, go with it, and keep it going. Oh well, uh, 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 I'm supposed to be doing A, B, and C. Okay, but somebody else is doing ABC. Do the rest of the stuff. That way, there's a balance in your relationship. There's a balance in your friendship to where there's no weekend, no weakness into the to whatever relationship it is, friendship, family, husband, wife. If you do the back end and somebody else is doing the front end, guess what that means? The middle is you're gonna meet in the middle, and once you meet in the middle, everything you need is gonna be completed, and that's what's gonna make that relationship a strong one and not a weak one. But like I said, we had these conversations. They don't hear us though.
I just look at everything like, especially like when you have like you just say our relationship, right? It's stuff that I'm gonna be effective and efficient in, and there's gonna be things you're effective and efficient in. And if you're effective and efficient in this thing, what's the point of me doing it, right? I look at that like in any relationship. Even with my marriage, if I'm better at something than my wife, then I'm gonna do it. She better at something than me,
Right.
then she do it. You know what I'm saying? She got her strengths, she got her weaknesses. I got my strengths, I got my weaknesses. And when you come collective, there ain't no purpose of getting with somebody. Like even in a friendship, bro, we got both the same weaknesses and the same strengths, bro. We gonna cancel each other out, and we ain't gonna get some shit ain't gonna get done because we weak in this, and we can only do this. So that's how I look at it. So
But that's
I mean,
how.
that shit makes
But
sense.
that
I don't even call it
it makes
logical.
perfect
That's just,
sense.
man.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Common, but you know what we say? Common sense ain't even common no more, right? If you weak and I'm weak, how the hell we gonna make each other strong in that department? Because we're both weak. Now the only other thing we could do is ask somebody who's strong in that department. Help they'll help us to get strong. That's why a better you is a better us. Because we're gonna attract those people that understands that we may be weak in that department. They may be weak in the departments we're strong at, but as individuals coming together as a collective, there is no weakness because we're all understanding of what it is. Now, I ain't try to put a triangle up there, the Trinity, or none of that. That was just coincidental. But the fact of the matter is, if we all work on ourselves, if I understand, for example, if I understood what Commander's weakness is, she understands my weakness. That's why we can sit there and have the joke. Where's the faith? Because we both have an understanding. I got your back, you got my back. Whatever you think you can't do or understand, I can be there to try to help you. And whatever I can't understand, you can help me. And then we got the big nine is sitting there. Okay, well, I can help both y'all because I'm up top looking at everything that y'all doing. Now we're a well working unit. Whether people understand that or not, that's not our problem. The fact of the matter is we understand each other. Sometimes we ain't gotta say nothing. All right, he wants somebody to come up. Okay, Commander, are you going? Okay, no, I'll go. I'll go this time. Don't worry about it. I appreciate it. And then I got it. Gary sleeps. Don't worry about it. But that's just how we and there was no effort of working. It's just the understanding that we all are working on the same goal. That's the beauty of not losing your individualism. But like I said, because people don't understand that, they just think I'm submitting to somebody who thinks they're better than me. And that's not what this is about at all.
No, bro, I don't even know that's not it. Bro, I hate to cut this short, but my kids, bro, my wife, I hear her and
All
them
right,
screaming
do
at
what you
me.
do. Go
Man,
ahead, do
they
what you
going
gotta do.
crazy.
Shut it down.
Bro, they
All
don't
righty.
listen to nobody but me. As soon as I go in there,
All right,
everybody
go
looking
ahead, do what
knocked
you
out.
do.
As soon as I get off of here
All
and
right,
go lay down about 5 minutes, what? Everybody sleep. But
all
but
right,
while
do
I'm
what you
on
do.
here,
Go ahead.
everybody, I appreciate you coming up, bro. I appreciate.
No doubt, no doubt.
Hopefully, that's what I'm saying. Like even this, bro. It's like I don't know, bro. We talk about it, but yeah, it's just like it's the time, bro. Even when I think I got time, I don't get time. So you know how upset I would have been, or I ain't gonna say upset. I would have been disappointed if I actually had like some information to present, and all this was going on in the house. I can't get jiggy with this shit, bro. Kids trying, wife, like, and I know she tired. She had a crazy day at work. So it was like, I just feel bad, leaving her in there with the kids. But let me jump off here, bro. Oh, shit, you already know. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody. Y'all know what I always say. Care about how you feel. These are conversations to build nation. If I say anything that resonated with you, do me a favor, hit that share button. Tell somebody, help me spread the word. But until next time, we out. That's all I got.
And do it for the nine.
What up, Nine?
Ignite!